Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we begin, let us give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. Now, we had Deku and his group. Things were a little bit more complicated, and Bakugo and Deku had a little bit of infighting. Deku revealed to his group why he is called an anomaly, and everyone, they were a lot more alarmed hearing about it. Out of every quirk they know that could exist, Izuku's quirk should not exist. Deku has the ability to pass on a quirk. He has a quirk himself, one that's powerful, potent, can break all of his limbs. Ochako can attest to that. She has seen this power in action. But Izuku was not born with this ability. In fact, he was born quirkless, but because of his unique situation, it's believed that this may have saved him from turning whenever he was first attacked. Now, the group are obviously concerned. Deku might be the reason why a deceiver attacked the manor. Might be the reason that one thing back at base knocked on that goddamn door, and was rambling about taking something home. Ever since Izuku was abducted by the military, strange things have happened to their group. And right now, that's not good. However, their little chat got interrupted when the military came knocking on their door and wanted their Humvee back. Bakugo went to encounter them, while Deku and Setsuna got on the roof with rifles. Setsuna recognized one of the men. At least she thought she did. While Bakugo talked to the commander, and the commander was able to strike a bit of a deal. He talked to Bakugo about how if they do turn the power back on for everybody if they want to play ball, then they all get access to hot water, the ability to shower again, have a hot shower, and even have power. Hell, it's not a bad deal. 3 months rent-free with power. That sounds pretty good. And Bakugo accepted. And Izuku, after Bakugo and him met back up again, he beat the shit out of Bakugo. Him laying into him with some extreme, well, not really extreme, some adequate discipline. Bakugo is a bully. He knows how bullies are, and will they really keep their word? That was the main concern Izuku had. And currently, he began to talk with some other groups. Him trying to see who they can and can't meet up with. Right now, they need to do whatever they can. And if they can't get people to at least start rising up to the military, it will not happen. Deku already showed one group it was possible to take these men on. It was possible to fight back. And they are on his side. And Caroline, she has begun the process of making calls and letting Izuku talk to a lot of people. Though, there also was another problem. Izuku and the new girl in his life needed to have a bit of a chat. She came to him while he was talking to some people. And that certainly does mean something. Now, Izuku, he has a lot going through his head. And there currently is the next day. Deku wakes up a bit early. Currently, him finding himself awake before the sunrise. And he does go to turn. Him looking at the girl lying in his bed and thinking about a few things. It's just strange. Is it too soon? It feels too soon. He feels like him and Ochako can still make up. No. He doesn't believe that. He can't just... She's afraid of him. He's gone over it in his head again and again and again. Jiro is afraid of him. Momo, she's not sure. Ochako, though, admitted it. She was scared to talk to him. Bakugo thinks he's too brutal, but he's too soft. Right. No. He has to have his mind Just doesn't want to cooperate. Deku's gonna get up, and currently leaving his room. And we do actually have the girl lying in his bed, who doesn't want to stir and turn her head. Seeing Izuku currently walking out of the room. And Deku does have a lot going on. Currently, him going for a bit of a jog around the manor. Currently, him running around outside and getting a few things prepared. Him going about his routine. Currently, him looking up and seeing who might be on the roof. And someone, they're going to bring their hand up and look over. Or them going to wave as Deku will go to see Todoroki. Him going to walk over and inside. Currently, Deku going to take the coffee out of one of the coffee pots and pour it into a glass. Him going to actually pour another one and head upstairs. Currently, Todoroki sitting there and going to wait. Him turning his head and looking over towards the fence, where they do have some rudimentary lights lit up. And it does allow them to see what is there and what isn't. And the barbed wire, it is doing its job of keeping everything out. If something does try to climb the fence, it will get caught. And it will hurt itself quite a bit. It should not be able to get through. And Izuku does walk out onto the rooftop. Currently, him walking over and going to hold up a cup of coffee. And I'm telling Todoroki, he got 2 sugars. Though, yeah, no, that's really about it. He was thinking about what they're going to do today. I'm going to sit down. And Todoroki does get a turn to Izuku. Him blowing off the coffee a bit and just going to sit down in front of him. It's been almost 10 months. It's closing in on that time. Winter's come to an end and they all survived. It's still cold out here. He can still see his breath a bit. Though at the same time, it's the comfortable kind, not the deathly kind. It's a little nice. It reminds him of whenever he was a kid. His father would be at work, and the house was full of ice quirks. People with powers that just made the area chilly. His sister, she was always home. He does miss her. I'm wondering a bit about that. And Deku, he'll just want to talk. Todoroki turning his head and talking about it. Right. No, he's just been thinking about it a lot since yesterday. Really? Yeah. What about you, though? This anomaly business. You're not infected, are you? No, I'm not. But listen, I want to talk to you about a few things. I want you to go with me. Go with you to this meeting? Yeah. I talked a bit about it last night during dinner, but people seem to be a bit more apprehensive of it. I got Setsuna on my side. She's willing to go. Jiro's willing to go, along with even Nejire, but we need more people. More than that. Tamaki doesn't want to go. I mean, Nejire already talked about how she thinks Mirio could be there. Maybe he could be a leader? You sure about that? I don't know who this Mirio guy is. He's important to them. Though clearly, it's not too good. Ochako's one to go too. Even Bakugo, but I don't want Bakugo going. You sure that that's a good idea? I thought about limiting it to 5. So it would be me, you, Setsuna, Nejire, and maybe someone else. I don't want Bakugo going. Why? You know how he is. Yesterday he challenged my authority as the leader. He just made a choice, and everyone didn't like it. True. It is a problem. But at the same time, he's a different perspective. I get that. But at the end of the day, my call is still the best. It's still what we should make. If people don't listen to what I'm saying, how are we supposed to stay organized? Cohesive? I get what you're saying, Izuku. People follow you because you're direct. You react. But at the same time, Baku's a thinker. Not really. He always called me a nerd. Maybe. But have you thought about his injuries before? Hmm? He lost Denki. He was brash, bold, and his first attempt at leadership ended up with one of his friends dying. As far as I'm aware, a bomb went off in the store. That's all I know. Bakugo was injured, and they dragged him out of there. You weren't there. He was. They ran into a deceiver. The back window of that car was shot out. Or that truck. I get it. It scared him. But at the same time, he's handled a lot worse. Now he has. That's why he's getting his backbone back. Getting into his mojo. I'm willing to go, Izuku. But maybe give Bakugo a bit more of a chance. If all of us work together, we can help him out. Besides, I think it's good for Bakugo to see a bit more of the world. He's still a little, yeah. Thing is, though, half of us go out and half of us don't. We're all beginning to break down because none of us have all had the same experiences. It's true, but perspectives are important. I get it. Trust me, I get it, Todoroki. Was I right to hit him yesterday? I'm not saying you weren't. Him turning, grabbing his coffee, and going to take a sip of it. And currently he could somewhat feel the warmth move through his body. And this does help him somewhat relax a bit more. Todoroki gonna turn, and talking with Deku a bit more about this. At some point, Izuku feels like he lost a bit more of his humanity. Though, he's questioning himself. He's concerned about his own actions. And this, it is intriguing for Todoroki. He's acting vulnerable. He's not that scary. Not to his friends. But to people who oppose him, Izuku can turn himself into a monster. Maybe he'll turn into a monster by the end of this. He'll lose something of himself. But that he hopes isn't the goal of all this. They're going to try and take down a military opposition. Somebody who should have superior numbers, firepower, and gear. And what do they have? Guns and spears. Bows and arrows. Armor and a machinist. Somebody who can build things for them. Somebody, though, who's also limited. They have two. They need more stuff. And Izuku is well aware of that. Some of those things, though, are harder to come by. They've tried going there before. But they either encounter crazies nearby, or the stuff they need to do to load all that up would cause too much sound. And this, it's going to be a unique opportunity. See if other groups have the stuff they need to fabricate proper gear. And currently the group, they do get to head out. Currently the car being packed up as there actually is Izuku, who does sit there with the keys. And the group, they do begin to watch people pile in. Todoroki walking down the stairs and gonna turn. Him gonna wave off as there actually is Momo, who does this one smile and bring her hand up. Her just a bit more concerned. There's no telling what's going to happen from here on out. If things do go bad, they'll go bad for all of them. They're all in this together. Their entire group is. and many of them have mixed feelings about all this. The Izuku, he's the one who's trying to do what he can, figure out how to handle this. And currently there actually is Bakugo, who would go to walk down the stairs. Currently Kendo, somewhat, staying there as he walks by. Her going to say something to him, as Bakugo will go to turn, staring at her and walking back down the stairs. Him a little bit more aware about what happened yesterday. And Izuku does sit there in the driver's seat, the car running, as Nejire is in the passenger seat, Setsuna is in the back, and there is then Bakugo, who would climb in, as Todoroki does also sit there in the back seat. Currently Deku turning his head and looking into the rearview mirror. Bakugo staring at Deku, as Deku, he would do one thing, bring his hand down and putting the car in a drive. Him going to head off. And Bakugo, he's a little bit more surprised by that. Currently the group going to head out. And Izuku, he is worried about one thing. Their excursion into the city, they have a new base, a new place to hide. But there's one place he wants to check out before they arrive. They all agreed on a destination. They'll agree to one location. And Deku, he is intrigued by it. Currently, him pulling up to the old base. And they do just not turn and see it. The doorway is covered in burns. And Deku stares on at much of the stuff that's been written there. But it doesn't look right. It looks off. And Izuku stares at the words. One of us. All of us. For all of us. For me. All of them written down. But they're not written. They're burned on. Along with handprints. Deku looking at the wall. The door is gone. The concrete's burned and a lot of things on that. You know what? This was a bad idea. Currently him go to turn and drive off to the new base. Currently him heading a few blocks down and back to that one location the deceiver ran them out of before. And this place, it certainly is a lot nicer, a lot bigger, and a lot more capable for some defense. Now, currently Deku, he does go to get out of the car, and somebody, they do stand on the rooftop. Currently them staring down and seeing the people who just arrived. And this certainly is kind of intriguing. Though, he does wonder, Izuku, that's this kid's name. That's all he's got about the kid. He's heard a few things, though he's wondering if he'll live up to his reputation. Smart, capable, deadly. Things he does all like. And right now, this does intrigue him. He's been sent here to represent his group, and he's hoping that things go well. Currently, I'm going to turn and walk into the building. And currently, everyone, they do get to get inside. As Deku, he would look around, seeing a number of people. There's a lot here. Got to be more than 24 of them. Okay. So, this is certainly something. Some people looking at Izuku and his team. All of them are armed. And this place certainly is the eventful place. This place certainly does have an event going on right now. There we go. People looking around as some, they do go to try and gather everyone together. Though people, they're not really interested to hear from other groups. And then there actually is Izuku, who would going to bring his hand up and raise his voice, and forming everybody. Currently him walking and up a staircase, bringing his hands down to the railing and talking about it. His name is Izuku Midoriya. People staring at him. Deku bringing his hand up and holding up his knife. Currently him putting it down onto the railing, talking about it. He's the person who all of them may know gave out information on the relentless zombies. The ones that have bulletproof armor and don't stay down. As many people might also know, he is one of the people they've heard that killed a group of military individuals with his own group. The knife currently in front of him is one that's dangerous. It's one that he made from a jaguar. The one he talked about. They have tails and armor and all that. Now, he's here today because he wants to talk to their leaders. All of them. Follow him upstairs and they can talk. For right now, everybody here should get to know one another. They all have one common enemy. As some of them might have heard or may not be in the know, the military has control of the dam nearby their town. However, there also is something hiding inside the city. Something that is dangerous. And some people do get to look around, a little intrigued. Currently, some of the leaders going to walk up. And Deku, the moment he does see Caroline, he would have bring his hand up. Right now, her shaking his hand and nodding at him. His supplies helped her group out, and his efforts have allowed them to make more and more efforts for supplies. It's emboldened some of them. And some people, they do want to talk to him. Other members of her group. They will rally behind him. And if more people do stand, they're willing to fight. Currently Izuku talking about it. A man walking up, as he does, have some scruff on his face and some goggles on him as well. Him expressing. His name's Hanzo. He leads his group and he's a mechanic. Though, that's all he's really got. Most of his people are good. And, well, they do like to hang out in the scrapyard. So, they try and build what they can out of some stuff. But they're pretty limited. They've got some good intel, but they're also a bit more concerned about a lot. They've heard some rumors about the city. Staying on the outskirts is good, but heading towards the middle and then the center, that's where things get a little bit more complicated. The man trying to express, turning to somebody else, and currently an older man just won't stand there. And Izuku stares at him. Currently him going to express. His name is Renzo. The fact of the matter is, he's a little surprised people are actually willing to fight. Though, his group doesn't have really much to offer them. Other than, well, certain food material. However, a lot of that they like to try and keep for themselves. They're mainly self-sufficient. Though the military, they do like to do a few things. And Izuku, he does think to meet some other people. He meets Rika, a woman who is the leader of another particular group. People who hide a bit more into the city, but are used to being in the dark, sneaking around, and remaining unseen. And her job before all this, it was simple. She talks about it. She's a tattoo artist. She knows her way around the city because she lived in it her whole life. By the way, she's a bit more intrigued about this one guy though. And Deku, he does a turn. There's a lot of people here. If there's over 24, then that means there's got to be more than 5 groups. He brought 5 people. Okay, Izuku. Think about this logically. Think about it the right way. Currently a man going to whistle. And everyone, they do to stop their muttering as Deku himself would do one thing. He does go to bring his hand down and grab his weapon. Him aiming and pointing the gun straight up. And currently some of the people do get ready. As the man, he does go to someone's smirk. Him stepping forwards and smashing down with a loud thud, currently on the railing above Izuku. And Deku, he does this stare on. Him going to aim the gun directly at the man, who does sit there with katanas and knives, and a red, well, scarf. But no stain, gonna fully stand up, expressing with the costume on his head that right now he's got a lot of things to say. Him and some people have come here. They came to see exactly who's willing to do what. Though the fact that a kid is the one who gave them all a backbone, it says quite a bit. Staying in a turn, staring directly at Izuku, talking about it. So he's Izuku Midoriya, the boy he's heard so much about. What's so special about him? And Deku, he stares directly at Stain. Currently, him not saying a word, as Stain will go to continue. He's got to say, the fact that all of them waited so long does mean quite a bit. What? They're missing a few other groups. Him walking over to the railing, and currently down towards Deku and the other leaders. They all decided to wait. They all decided to try to hold out. Play ball, give them supplies, but all they did is make them stronger. They let their group survive the winter, and none of them had the idea to grow the fuck up. Don't rely on those people for protection. Those people aren't pros. They're soldiers, and soldiers will follow orders. That's what makes them soldiers. Though right now, he wants to see if good people will stand up and fight. Currently, one of them does stand before him. And he's got to say, seeing him in person is a lot less impressive. Currently, Deku turning to Stain, walking up the stairs and telling him. So, if he's the leader, up. No, I'm not done talking. And I was just starting to talk. It's rude to interrupt people you know. Maybe. Though I've got to ask. Who are you? Izuku Midoriya. I've got to ask. Who are you? Stain. Just call me Stain. I like to help my fellow man. Go around and see what I can exactly do. You understand my methods. I'm sure I do. Stain just don't stand there. And Deku, he would bring his hand up. Currently, him going to reholster his gun, and Stain would watch Deku's hand. Currently, Deku going to bring his left hand up. Him going to grab at something and going to throw it directly at Stain. And Stain would bring his hand up. Currently, him tossing a knife through the air as Deku and Stain are going to slash on each other. Currently, both going to hit the ground below both of them. And this, it does somewhat surprise Stain. And Deku does talk about it. He's pretty good. Not bad. Might be useful. Though at the same time, how strong? What do you mean? You, physically, how strong? You have a crossbow. I do. You have knives. So, how much power do you have? Or do you not push yourself? How everyone should. You need to survive, be strong, be capable, and know how to fight. You're that one guy people wanted me to meet. Maybe. But I don't consider myself to be a pro. That tale has been a little bit soured nowadays. Especially with some of the things I've been hearing. Gone through the tunnels? No. I've heard about them, but haven't gone through. They lead further into the city. They pop out an area dead set in the middle. close to the heart. From what I'm aware, kid, that spot, it's on the edge of something good. People don't venture in. It's a treasure trove. A lot of things you can get from there. You hear me? I do, but you can also just gut walk. Tunnels faster. Safer too. As long as you keep your mouth shut. And stay quiet. Maybe. But how can I trust you on this? Simple. Been there. They're going to turn, telling the other leaders that they all need to come up here now. They're all going to chat and discuss things privately. Figure out what they need to do. And Stain, he does like the boys' initiative. He certainly is something. Deku stepping towards Stain, bending down and grabbing onto the knives. Currently, him walking over and holding one up to Stain. And Stain, he got a turn, looking at the knife and taking it from Deku's hand. Him staring at it before going to look at Deku's, which is a little chipped, but clearly has had some use. And Deku, he was going to put it down into the sheath he does have, hidden on the inside of his pants. And this, it doesn't press Stain. If you don't know they're there, they're not there. So, sleight of hand. Boy's smart. Have an ace up your sleeve. Or, well, in this case, a knife hidden. And currently the group, they do to walk inside. Them, currently, heading into a room and beginning a conversation about what they should do against the military. And Izuku, he does have the chair, currently. Their groups are all divided, all a little bit scattered. But as far as he's aware, as long as they all work together, get a few things done, and try and at least understand what they can do, understand what they can share the power. They can share the dam. Right now he does have a plan that is a little risky, a little tricky. And some of them, they will need to cooperate. They may not like it, but for right now, it's the best they can use. And what's that? Simple. We trade with these people. What? You can't be serious. I am. Listen. All I'm saying is, we trade. We give them what they want. Food, resources, and they give us power. For right now, what we'll do is simple. For the first month, we're not going to do much. Every now and again, we slip something into their supply. Things they may not notice. Hurt their supplies and food. For the second month, we try to do what we can. My group has a lot of wine. And given the right syringe, we can put a little bit of blood in it. Zombie blood to be specific. Right now, we need to go to the military and give them information. There's something at the center of the city. If we talk with them about it, and even bring them in, we can all get them to help us take it down. It's an idea. We all trade with them and get them comfortable. Fatten them up like a pig before you slaughter it. Currently this, being with the older man, he would go to Express. That would sound quite lovely. Though, these people are going to bleed him dry then. He's got a decent amount of cattle left. But, if they keep coming at him the way they have been, a little bit more aggressively, supply and demand will outweigh. And those animals will have to be killed for their meat. He'll have nothing left to barter with. So, if any of them can hand over meat, that would be preferable. His farm, his livestock, needs time to replenish. And whenever that does happen, he can let them all know. Currently, he's willing to trade with some of the, well, animals he does have. Get them away from his place. hide them somewhere safe, and hopefully do a lot. As far as he's aware, Izuku's group live outside the city. They're the farthest away. So, if he does send them over some of his stock or livestock, then they can work out a bit of a deal. Deku knows their group needs weapons desperately. Good ones. Some of their weapons have already been either broken or used in farm work and have been busted. The military, they even took away some of the more dangerous ones. As far as they're aware, they protect them, so they don't need those damn guns. At least that's what that one whippersnapper said. And the man, he does get a bit more annoyed about that. And Izuku, he does continue on. He's aware of this. They can talk more about that later. But for right now, their main concern is actually dealing with the men who threaten all of them. Like he said, they either get them to help them with this thing in the city, they all take it down and then focus on them, or they start to at least poison their supply, weaken the enemy from within. They all do have a doctor, so they've got to handle things there, figure out how to deal with that. The doctor is a person of questionable ethics, to say the very least. The bitch, everyone staring at Deku, doesn't have any moral restrictions on murder. In fact, she's the reason why he lost the damn finger. He had a gut walk from nearby the center of the city to his home, and that took hours before he arrived. It's not easy coming face to face with a deceiver so close. All of them should probably know, by the way. They have 3 sets of eyes, and those eyes are connected to tendrils they can use to attack. If they ever do take one down, don't get too close. Aim between where the eyes should be in those damn sockets. There's something inside them waiting to attack them. If they're not aware of it, they'll all die. And Stain, he does get a bit of a ride out of this. Izuku is listing off plans for how to take these guys on. But at the same time, he's also talking about buying time. Right, because that's a good fucking idea. I do have to say something. Everyone gonna turn, and Stain would go to Express. If they're buying time, all the groups should probably start training. He can get them all put on a regiment, and they can take down this military regime that is trying to form, that's trying to take shape. As far as he's aware, none of them are soldiers or know how to fight. He does. So, if he can show them how it's done, then they can all take on the military. He can turn them all into a force of nature. And the man, he does his own smile. Right now, him having his face relax, and then his composure return. And Deku does stare at that, a little bit more concerned. Right now, Deku bringing his hand down and asking the man exactly if he happened to have been bitten, or, well, used his quirk recently. No. Just excitable kid. I'd stay away from the gun, though. Your trigger finger's itching, isn't it? Save it for the military. Besides, I'm just wondering what the #1 hero would do. We can use that. Never mind. That'd be too dangerous. If we lead Toshinori to the dam, he might destroy it. Break it. We can lead the military to... maybe that is a good idea. What is it, kid? Sound grenades. I can track down Toshinori Yagi. All Might. Find out where he is. Maybe see what's going on there. And if I can, then I can send him towards the military. But we need to lead the military into a trap, if that's the case. Get them all somewhere at the exact same place at the exact same time. Though, I'm not sure how we do that. Well, kid, you're talking about pissing in their cereal, right? That's a strange mental image, Mr. Stain. Fine, you're trying to piss in their coffee. Anyways, what you're trying to do is set them off. Best way to do that is to set them off. I'm saying I train everybody. Or we all play nice. Or we do the exact same thing. We train and play nice, build our own defenses, and stockpile the better stuff. Though, you have to be careful. Act like we're running dry. And then, if we all do need to, head further in. It could be good for some of your training. I want to train with you, kid. I've heard things about you. And I'm sure if I give you some of my techniques, you'll be a lot more, well, let's just say capable of survival. Deku's staring at Mr. Stain, and it does go through his mind. It is, interesting. The man gonna bring his hand up, and expressing. Currently him tearing apart of his scarf, and handing it over to Izuku. It's easy. Just hand him this, and meet him somewhere in the city. He might see him around. He'll stick to the outskirts for some time. Though, come to him. He'll see him. Or radio in. But be aware. If he does radio in, he'll make sure that they train hard. He'll make sure he turns him into a monster. Though getting some getting some better hands-on experience is definitely something. He can go out on patrol. And Deku does hear that word. Patrol. This guy's a little too intense to be a hero. So, that's something else. If he is a hero, then maybe. But he's like none he's ever heard of. The weapons, the attitude. No. Edgeshot is... No. He's thinking of some other guy. Edgeshot was number... No, that doesn't matter. This guy's different, though. If he was a pro hero, he can help. But that does raise the question. How the hell did he survive? And this does pass through Deku's mind. In Stain, he can see Izuku pondering the very same question. And this, he does go to express. Go to stand up. Him walking over to a window and talking about it. Tell his people to meet him outside. Curly Stain going to fall backwards. And Deku, he is somewhat concerned. Because that is a 3-story drop. We're now him going to stand up and run over. I'm expecting to see a man gone splat. However, Stain, he doesn't want to stand there on the ground. We're now him going to actually turn. Him pointing at a building and then going to run towards it. And Deku, he doesn't watch the immense speed. We're now Stain getting to the building and then going to somewhat leap upwards, bring his hands up. We're now him going to dig into where a window was and pull himself up higher. And Stain, he does begin to actually free climb the entire building. And this, it does make Deku get it a little bit. That's certainly power. Fast, strong. No, he could be crazy, but he wasn't melting. That's not a quirk. That's not a quirk. That means that anyone can do it. This is on Deku's mind. Stain is pushing the limits of the human body. Almost like the infection. A byproduct, maybe? No. Not a byproduct. Okay, maybe they need to at least look into Stain a bit more. He might be a crazy or maybe not. But this does mean quite a bit. Currently some people are going to run outside. And Stain, he has a turn. As those people do the exact same thing he currently was doing. In this, it does make Deku question it a bit. Currently, one of the people going to actually scale one of the walls as they go to bring their hand up, stabbing into a piece of glass, and going to actually throw their hand backwards. However, they kick off of the building and currently find themselves away from it. And Deku, he does gotta watch on. Currently, somebody climbing up the building and going to turn, bring their hand out and grabbing onto that person. Them throwing them back against the wall as the person would smash against the wall and so it sit there for a minute. Currently, them trying to gain their composure because their hand has a piece of glass stuck inside of it. In this, it does mean quite a bit. The group are coordinated and care. Maybe this guy is an option. Okay, he's more intense than him. No, Izuku. Okay, but seriously though, his training could be good. Much to offer them. Much to figure out. If they can move like that, then they can at least have a bit more. No. They won't have an advantage. The playing field is still stacked against them. But at least they take something off of that side. That scale tips a bit more in their favor. It's not even yet. It may never be. But still, they have something. And Deku, this does go through his mind. Currently, I'm going to smirk and say that some of these people have left the room, though some have stayed to discuss certain trade offers. And a few minutes later, Deku and the leaders do come walking out. Currently, some people are waiting there with a bit of anticipation. And Deku, he does begin to outline some of the plans they all do have, trying to make them all aware. They've come to a bit of an agreement. The leaders of these three groups all have information to hand out to the others, and they all want them all to be aware. They'll begin trades between their groups. Along with that, the leaders themselves will put it up to a bit of a vote. And once that is settled, they will make a plan of attack against the military. And they will all reconvene here. This location is his group's base. If they have information, then they need to send it here. If they have anything, send it here. And if it is urgent, then they need a plan for how to at least relay long-distance communications other than the one satellite phone each group does have. So, here's how they might be able to do that. They might need to restore a radio tower, but that will take a lot of power. If they can at least convince the military, incentivize them to turn it back on more, they will have quite a bit. They need to find a radio station in town, get it back up to full operation, and then convince the military to turn the power back on. Because once that station does begin to broadcast, it can do a lot for all the groups. Though, he's aware of what he is going to ask them all is a little much. After this little task, they can all get things prepared. Power will return and make their lives a little bit easier. And people do begin to leave. One of the leaders of the groups that stepped out of the room going to leave as well. A little aware of what Deku did and the way he phrased it all. He's leaving things a little ambiguous but open-ended, but giving them all something to do first. It's a small task, one they don't know about. Taking on a, broadcasting station, like, the news headquarters or even a radio station, a radio tower. Getting a location like that and turning it back on, having it broadcast new information, having a quote-unquote DJ on the mic, yeah, it sounds like a good idea in theory. But that's sending out a signal blasting all over the city, potentially even to other cities. And they don't know what's going on there. That does mean a lot, though. And currently the groups, they do begin to leave. We do actually have Izuku. Him and his group, they went out to scavenge a few things. And Deku does just don't stand there. Him a bit aware. It's a weird choice. But let's see. Ochako talked about. No, no, he won't dye his hair white. Black hair. Maybe. Yeah, no. Pink stands out. Blue stands out. Red definitely stands out. Hmm. It does seem like a good color. But let's see. Black is a bit more natural. Maybe. Half of his hair is already black, so it might not even look that different. Green. No, green is bright, vibrant. He guesses black will work the best. Maybe change between black and white? Right, because it will hide his hair in the winter. We'll have to dye it every, like, month? Week at that point? He doesn't know shit about this. And Deku, he does look at a smile. This choice would be one that's easy. One that's hard, actually. But it's a mix of both. He could have done this in the old world, but he never thought to dye his hair. And currently while that's happening, we do cut to two people who do sit there in the car. Setsuna and Nejire. And the two, they do sit in silence a bit. They went back and forth about a lot. But other than the radio playing and them trying to keep a bit of a lookout for anything, not much can really be said. Though, yeah. Nejire has a few things she wants to talk to Setsuna about. She messed up. She really messed up. It's okay though, right? I mean, him and his girlfriend broke up, but it doesn't really feel okay because she didn't hear about that at least till the next morning. And even then, there was that weird interaction with Momo. It's passing through Nejire's mind, and currently she's gonna just won't turn. We're not her taking a breath. As it's enough, we're gonna turn back from the store and looking at Nejire, who does gonna seem a little nervous. Can I talk to you about something? Hmm? What is it? It's about Izuku. Oh, come on. Do you really want to go back to that? I'm just saying, you know that whole agreement me and you had? Yeah? What about it? What about it? I I may have broken my promise. You made a move on him? Currently Setsuna being a bit angry. But at the same time from Nejire, from what she can tell, she's also jealous. And Setsuna does get a bit mad. The two, they've talked about it before. I mean, in the apocalypse, things can happen. A lot. Life can be short. And, well, they don't really know how long they might last. They both did make one agreement. They both like the same guy. I mean, Izuku is certainly someone who's capable. And Nejire's attitude towards him has been changing a lot lately. She was grateful to him for his help. Anytime he does go out to scavenge, she's always on his team. And she's thought about dropping this idea of finding Mirio. No longer heading to the water towers. No more going out. Mirio is gone. He's dead. And those words, they do hurt. But she knows that they are true. She's thought about them before. But right now, Nejire, she is trying to at least talk down Setsuna and talk to her a bit more about this. The two don't wish to much know Chako. No ill will. But her and Izuku just seem to be a little less than compatible from what they understand. Now, currently the group, they do drive back to the manor. And Deku, he does get a turn. We're now him catching Setsuna staring at him in the mirror as he does look down at the box of hair dye in his hand. Him with a lot going through his head. And with that being said, we do currently cut to somebody on a rooftop. And they do stare on. Currently them kicking their legs and bringing their hands up. A lot more aware. Because everything is going exactly as it should. From what he can tell, things are okay. Though, catching him. No. A series of events will lead to the boy and the pit encountering each other. The probable chance of it means a lot. If he does step in, things will not go accordingly. Things will change. And that, no. He cannot allow that. Currently the man going to stand, a lot more aware that if he does let nature run its course, everything will go as intended. The pit will win. And this, it does make this man happy. Currently him going to turn and go to hear something. Him going to look over his shoulder as his vision, it is a lot more cloudy. Imagine a sandstorm with rushing wind. But your vision's also red. There's no sand, but your skin feels tingly. Your skin feels on fire. It's almost like somebody, they just lit the air on fire. Like being caught in an explosive blast of just concussive force. No explosion, but just a tingle of heat. No boom, no spark. But just how everything feels. The intensity around their sensation, of their entire being. It's just alarming. Their mind is firing off faster than they can perceive. And they are happy. Currently the man walking over to the edge. Him looking down as he does go to blink. Currently him seeing the next thing he wants to target. The next thing he wants to attack. The next thing he does want to find. And it does mean quite a bit. Currently him going to blink and open his eyes again. Currently him going to fall off the building and going to go after his current target. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.